Peace. Peace, 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 peace. I bring to you peace. This is Nazari with Disciples of Truth. And today's lesson or breakdown is going to be about semen retention. So a lot of you might not know what that is, but it's basically when a man does not ejaculate. He does not release his semen. This is something that leads to you being perfect and having godlike abilities and powers and so forth. And it's actually a sin to release your semen, to ejaculate. And I'll break that down in the scriptures. You defile yourself. Okay? So this message is for the 12 tribes and the 12 tribes only, as always. And I'm going to start with an opening scripture in Proverbs chapter 31, verse 3. I'm going to be using the King James Version of the Bible, Old Testament, as well as the New Testament. And also a book called The Gospel of the Holy 12 and the Gospel of Peace. So, like I said, the opening scripture will be Proverbs 31, verse 3. It says, "Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways that which destroyeth kings." Okay, so this scripture says, "Give not thy strength unto women." So what is a man's strength when you think about it? Okay, what is your strength as a man? What is a man's strength? When a man ejaculates, when he releases his semen, he gets weak, all right? He goes dead. So he loses his strength. What else is your strength? The strength is your blood. That's it. That is your life source, right? Because the scripture says that the life of all flesh is in the blood. And ejaculation is full of blood. So you literally lose blood that you have to build back up when you release like that. Okay? But don't take my word for it. Let's look at some precepts to back that up. In Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 16 to 17. I'll read Proverbs 31, verse 3 again, and I'll just go right into Deuteronomy. It says, Proverbs 31, verse 3. "Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings." Now, Deuteronomy 21, verse 16 to 17. "Then it shall be, when he maketh his son to inherit that which he had, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn, by giving him a double portion of all that he had. For he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his." So this is going into a different topic. But the key point in this passage, when I say going into a different topic, it's a breakdown for inheritance for, the firstborn child and all that. But it also still talks about what I'm discussing right now, because it says, "For he is the beginning of his strength." So what is his strength? He's saying that the firstborn child is the beginning of the strength. So what is the strength? "Give not thy strength unto women." This is the ejaculation. This is the semen that it's talking about. Okay, and if you're not convinced, there's more scriptures and more precepts to go along with what I'm saying. Now, we know that our people were not practicing this because, throughout the scriptures, we see the one story where the Israelite had spilled his seed because he didn't want to impregnate someone, right? So he basically pulled out in today's terminology, right? So they were not practicing it. Now, when we look at Leviticus chapter 15, verse 16, it's going to get real clear, right? As we go further on in this video, it's going to get very clear, I guarantee. Now, Leviticus chapter 15, verse 16, it says, "And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, that then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean unto the even." Okay, so it said if your seed of copulation, so what is the seed of copulation? It's talking about intercourse or masturbating or, just a wet dream. Okay, so that seed has departed from you. Leviticus 15 and 16, I'll read it again. And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until the even. So when you ejaculate, you are unclean. This is what the scripture says. You are defiled. Okay? So now let's look at First John chapter 3 verse 9. It says, "Whosoever is born of the Most High does not commit sin." Okay? First John verse 3 and 9. Let's find out how he does not commit sin. "For his seed remaineth in him, and he cannot sin because he is born of the highest." Okay? First John 3 and 9. If this doesn't speak volume, I don't know what will. "Whosoever is born of the highest does not commit sin, for his seed remaineth in him, and he cannot sin because he is born of the highest." Okay, I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I don't believe in the New Testament." It doesn't make a difference, because we just read in Leviticus 15 and 16, "And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean unto the even." So you're still defiled. All right? Now let's get deeper into it. Let's look at Revelation chapter 14, verse 1 to 5. It says, "And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, okay, having his father's name written in their forehead. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers, harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn the song, but the 144,000. Now, this 144,000 is a number that people have been debating about and arguing about for centuries. Okay, let's find out, just based on what the scripture says, who this 144,000 is going to be. It says, "These are they which were not defiled with women." Okay, these are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb wheresoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruit unto the highest and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of the Most High. Now, the 144,000, based on what we just read, it says they are virgins. So don't look at the term virgin in modern definition. In ancient time, it's letting us know that these people were not defiled with women. How do you defile yourself with women? Well, Leviticus 15 and 16, your seed of copulation departs from you. So you are defiled. I'm going to read Revelations 14, 1 and 5 again. It says, "And I looked." And now, don't get it twisted and think that I'm saying that, you're not supposed to be having intercourse with your partner. That is not what I'm talking about. Okay? But there is a way for you to be intimate with your spouse and still keep your seed. It's possible. Okay? But we've been doing a lot of things based on misinformation, so we don't understand the concept. But it's something that is very possible. Okay? Now, Revelations 14, 1 and 5, I'll read it again. It says, "And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn the song, but the and 4,000, which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women. It's not saying that they were never with a woman. It's saying that you didn't allow women to defile you. Okay? So these are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the firstfruit unto the highest and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they were without fault before the throne of the highest. Now, I've already broken down what a virgin is in another video that I did, but I don't remember which video it was, but I broke it down before. But I mean, you can do the research on your own and realize that in modern terms, what they call a virgin now is not a virgin. Based on biblical terminology, there's different multiple definitions for the word virgin and how it's used. Okay. Now, the interesting thing about this passage also, I mean, it's a little bit off the topic, but I still want to touch on it. It says, and in their mouth was found no guile. Okay? So we have to be very careful about the things that we say. This is why truly highly spiritual people take vows of silence. Okay? Because they understand that they don't want this evil or backbiting or lying or covetousness. No, they don't want any of that to come from their lips. So they take a vow of silence. Now, let's look at Matthew 12 and 36. It says, but I say unto you that every idle word that man shall speak, they shall give account for in the day of judgment. So every idle word that you speak, you're going to be accountable for it. Okay? So people who think it's funny to be roasting individuals, making fun, talking back, being disrespectful, whatever it is, we are all going to give account for every idle word. Do you understand how deep that is? And this is why I'm to the point where I don't even argue with people, because his sheep know his voice. If I'm going to tell you something and you're not going to be able to receive it, there's no point in me arguing and stirring up strife. It says that a soft answer turns away wrath. And that's what I'm about. I'm about peace. I don't need to argue. There's no desire. Remember, it's only 8 people that made it on the ark. So why are we going around here thinking that we could battle and save and fight for every soul when every man is accountable for his own salvation? It's either they're going to receive it or they're not. And we leave it as that. Okay? So I'm going to continue and... Okay, let me go into another book that I subscribe to. It's called The Gospel of the Holy 12 and the Gospel of Peace, right? And now in this book, it confirms or validates, what is said in the Bible. So I don't know if anyone is familiar with it, but you can look it up. It's The Gospel of the Holy 12 and the Gospel of Peace. It's a very enlightening book. Okay, it's rumored to believe that they removed it from the text, from the original scripts. And I have no doubt in my mind that they did, because I have read the book, and like I said, it validates what is written in the scriptures, and it enhances it. It sheds more light on it. It explains to you why people were doing certain things. But I'm not here to argue or prove the validity of that book. I mean, like I say, either you're going to believe it or you're not. Either it's for you or it's not for you. There's no debate. There's no debate when you deal with truth. His sheep know his voice. The minute these words hear your ears, if you are called of the Most High, you're going to act on it. And that's just what it is. Now, in this book, I'm going to read the text. It says, and another asked him, saying, if any be sick among us, shall we have power to heal, even as thou dost? And Christ answered, this power cometh of perfect chastity, and of faith. They who are born of the highest keep their seed within them. Okay? So they're asking, how do we get healing powers? He said, this power comes from you not ejaculating, in today's terminology. That's where the power comes from. And from you having faith. Okay? So, I mean, the scriptures say what they say. I'm just going to read that again because I know a lot of you probably don't have access to this book. So I'll just read it again so you can hear what it's talking about. It says, "And another asked him, saying, If any be sick among us, shall we have power to heal even as thou dost? And Christ answered, This power cometh of perfect chastity, keeping your seed, and of faith. They who are born of the highest keep it their seed within them." Okay, so this is pretty straightforward. If you can't see it, then you just don't want to see it. It's not for you. You're not chosen. Only 8 people made it onto the ark. Okay, this knowledge, this understanding, these precepts, this breakdown, it's just not, it's not for everyone. It's not for all of us. So I'd like to go with my closing scripture as usual. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. It says, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of man." Peace, love, light. Selah.